Let's see how we do. We are back and somewhat stable so far, so that seems good. Okay, the plans for today are mostly just playing until we run into some issues, fixing those issues, and then more playing, and doing that for about like 2.5 hours, and hopefully we iron out the last issues that we run into. I've been doing this exact process for like an hour or two every other day for the last week and a half. So I have already kind of figured like most of the issues should be gone now, but you never know. So I'm just polishing things up to get things ready for playtesting, because there is nothing more annoying than sending out something for feedback and then getting the same feedback from like a million people. Well, not a million people. I wish it was a million people. Holy hell. That you already knew about, right? Saying, oh, but like there's this little weird thing that happens if you fucking like hang yourself and then shoot yourself in the face. And I'm like, yeah, I know that, but why would you do that? But I do know that I need to fix that, but why would you do that? Right? I want to try to prevent any of that from happening, because it tends to be the case that when people find things that I already know, they then have less to say about other stuff that I didn't yet know. So the more I can find and fix before other people get their hands on my stuff, the better I think the actual feedback will be from the playtesting. So that's going to be the thing for today. So I guess we just get started with that. I have been, holy hell, that's kind of loud. One moment. Let me turn down the volume on this a little bit, and then turn up the volume on myself a little bit. I think we're good to go. That might be a little too low, but that's pretty good. So I have been debating on whether or not I wanted that. It's a little too loud on my voice now. I've been messing with my microphone settings. It's kind of annoying. This is literally just for like the feedback for myself. It's also kind of loud for you guys, isn't it? So in that case, we might just want to like lower this a little bit more, and then I need to increase this volume a little bit more again, and then decrease my voice. It's all like a whole thing. There we go. Yeah, I think we're getting there. We're gonna get there. So I've been debating on whether or not I want to do this testing in Engine, or if I should do all this testing in like a packaged build, because sometimes you have bugs popping up in packaged builds. I have been doing packaging like once a day for the last couple of like sessions of this. Every time I found bugs, I fixed them in Engine, made a new package, and then started testing with that package. I'm not going to do that on stream, because that's going to take a while every single time we do that, and that's annoying. Also, hello, John B. So yeah, let's just start with the new game. I am going to F11 it, just so that we have like a full screen, and all the UI scaling and stuff will make sense, and then we're just gonna play through and we'll see where we end up going with this. So things like there not being like any tutorialization for the most part here, that's not going to be part of this playtesting, because obviously the screen kind of like tells you the controls, right? You have attack, dash, jump, and examine. Then with left trigger you can change these to special, and with right trigger to like your item loadout. I don't think I need tutorialization for that. And the concept of hitting enemies in an RPG, I don't think is novel enough to the point where I need to make like a whole like loading screen to explain that. So the only thing that I might need to explain is the mechanic of like having their defense bar and then having their like revenge attack, because that is something that maybe isn't as intuitive as I might like it to be. So maybe we'll make something for that. Also, I just noticed the first thing. It seems like my sword doesn't disappear when I do my dash. Just kind of weird. That is kind of weird. It's an easy fix. But it does also... Ooh, actually... That is involved in quite... Oh, there's a little bit of Z fighting there as well. That's not great. Okay. Let's kill this dude and then... Okay, so it's going to be on that side as well. The wonderful thing about doing this is that I can just tab out and say in a sticky note, sword doesn't vanish during dash, and 0 to last pillar Z fighting texture. I can just tab back in, and there we go. So we're going to be doing quite a lot of like that kind of minuscule stuff. You'll also note that there's new assets that have been put in these levels. I don't know if I showed it in the Discord. I might not have actually. But yeah, so there's a print string when I open a chest. Hold on. I think it might be open chest / examine as print string. That's not exactly ideal. I also fixed some inventory related stuff, which is good because again, I'm building the inventory system out to be a standalone plugin, so it needs to be like properly battle tested. To work with that, shop inventory also does some stuff. I remember that being shop inventory. Inventory does print strings. I don't want all those useless print strings to remain in the game. Like if there's an actual like problematic print string, obviously we do want that to still be in the game, but I would rather not have like a bunch of just testing print strings. Also, the way that I like to set this up is by selling a couple of these and then like buying my way to 10 of each of these, which I need to sell one more of those for, so that I can craft a healing spell. But that's a little bit of a choice that you get here, because you can also craft one of those fireball spells or just some potions and ethers. Or you can sell some stuff and make a healing spell, and I think the healing spell is just kind of like the correct choice, to be honest with you. But that's entirely up to you as the player. Healing spell doesn't have particles yet, I remember that before we even get to it. So, healing spell needs particles. I don't need to save the game, really. I don't think. But yeah, I do have these like... Oh, there's a little bit of Z fighting there too. I need to fix that. Z fighting in spawner tutorial level. So yeah, you will note that I did... I think... Did I make these on stream? I might have made these on stream, I don't remember. Good morning, afternoon, night, evening, whatever it is where you are. But I do have these like little dialogue boxes now, which helps a lot. There is an issue with them as well, though, which I don't know how to necessarily fix, but I'll show you in a moment. Actually, no, I won't, because that's the last triggering dialogue box that I have. So the issue is if I like attack and I trigger them, or if I try to like dash through here and I trigger them, these dialogue boxes disable your input, and then whenever you for the player character, that is, and then whenever you finish the dialogue box, it re-enables the character's input. But the dash and the attack do the same thing. So if you like dash through, if you dash through and the dialogue box trigger disables your input, then the dash or the attack will re-enable your input, and then whenever you progress the dialog box, you're suddenly like attacking off screen, which isn't ideal. So I need to fix that as well. That is a little bit more annoying though, because both of them use the just disable input on a character. Also, Spider AI is doing something weird. I think the issue there is Spider AI freeze after first projectile. That's misspelled, but that doesn't matter. I've seen this behavior before as well. I don't know what's causing it, unless the projectile... There's also... Oh, hold on. That did do a thing. Okay, so those... That's fireworks in the background. Don't mind that. There's also occasional... when I'm attacking a spider, I get a freeze frame. And it seemed like... after the freeze frame, it started doing stuff again. So it might be related to something in the spider's behavior that is momentarily freezing the game. I was thinking that might be like a garbage collect... Okay, that's another thing that I need to fix. I was thinking that might be like a garbage collection thing where I just spawn in too many particles and they get deleted and that kind of stuff. But I think... slash might cause freeze frames. World item actors fall through ground. So they should just spawn on the ground, probably. But what if I kill something that's flying and I'm also in midair? That might be confusing. Yeah, we'll think about the solution for that. Oh, okay, don't die. We'll think about the solution for that later, I'm sure. So as I was saying, both the dash as well as the attack, but also those trigger volumes, all that kind of stuff, they usually just player input enabling and disabling. And there is a bit of an issue with that, for what I hope is obvious reasons, after what I just explained how it works. So what I think... I'm not entirely sure how I want to fix that. Because realistically, at that point, what I almost need to do is... I need to heal up. What I almost need to do at that point would be have like an array of like objects or reasons or whatever that disallow me to move or to do any input at all. And only when that array is entirely empty do I re-enable the input. That way I can stack multiple reasons to like disallow my input. Ooh, that's 2 item drops. Nice. Because otherwise, how do I do something where I can like do an ability that will disable and re-enable my input? But what if in the middle of that ability I have something else that also disables inputs and expects the input to not be re-enabled? I suppose I could make it end the current ability. And that would prevent it from re-enabling the input, maybe. That would be easier to deal with. Also, the Z fighting is heal. Okay. That would probably be an easier way of dealing with that than... Is my voice low, by the way? It feels like my voice volume is a little bit low. Hold on, I'm going to boost it a little bit. Let's see, how's that? Is that better? It still seems a little on the low side, to be honest, but I can't really boost it much more very easily. Let's go into properties, maybe. Effects. Filters. It's called filters. Add a little bit more gain to it, maybe. Yeah, let's pretend like that's better. I don't know if it is. Yeah, so that would probably be better than having like an array of like strings or whatever that that keeps track of like all the reasons that I can't move, because that seems a little goofy, not gonna lie. So maybe don't do that. Also, this guy's ability just straight up stopped working at some point, and also that happens. So I'm not entirely sure what's up with like any of that, but we do need to fix both of those things. So Shaman, I think it's the Thunder attack not working. Probably something to do with the blueprint that it's supposed to spawn. But I probably should do that in the ability anyway, because the way it works now is a bit weird. And then we have Shaman in level T hallway spawning weird thing. Enemy activation effects. So we're just running through the tutorial area like this. We're already like building up quite a list. Luckily, this puzzle is like actually the easiest thing in the world if you know the solution, which I do because I made it. I really do like the way that this looks, this room with global illumination, because the lights from this actually do shine light into the room, and I kind of feel like I probably should add some actual lights into this blueprint to mimic that effect in lower graphic settings as well, because it is really kind of cool. So let's add that in. That's not technically a bug, but that is switch puzzle add lights to panel BB. And that's key number 2. So, how's everybody doing? It's been a while since I've been live. I am aware, and slightly sorry for that, but I've been sick, and then we've had the holidays, and ooh, my inventory is full, so I just fucked that. Okay. You know what? That's a good bug to add. World item shouldn't destroy / try to add itself if inventory is full. Because that was a spell that I just wasted, so probably not a great thing to do. Oh yeah, so some of these start at level 0 and some of them start at level 1. All stats should start at level 1. I think that's just a level initialization thing that should be pretty easy to set up. But the thing is, like, these should all start at level 1 ideally, which would also make the default inventory like significantly bigger. So I guess I just wasted some experience on that, but we'll probably live. It's probably fine. And let's go through this area. This is actually an interesting thing, because we've got a bunch of like marketplace assets from asset packs that I've started using, because I want to make a video about this sometime in the mid to near future about using assets, because there's just so much so much to do that I can't possibly make every asset in the world. And like these things that I'm standing on, I'll probably make my own for at some point. But these walls, like there's only so many ways to make a cobblestone wall, right? And these look fine, especially with like the post-processing over them. They're pretty good. But like these assets, the one I'm standing on right now is one that I made entirely myself. And the question is a little bit like, do they fit in well enough with the marketplace assets? Because it feels like they're a little bit less detailed in a lot of ways. But I think they probably mesh well enough, personally. But I'm not entirely sure. Of course, there's like brown platform over here does not fit in like at all. That's a temporary thing, without a doubt. That key probably should be moved over a little bit, but that's not the most important thing right now. And get that item. Okay, so that brings us to the boss fights. Oh, that's actually... Huh! So, I guess if I try to pick it up and it doesn't actually add itself to my inventory, it doesn't add itself to the picked up items list. So it respawns. That must be what's happening. Or did I just push it through the floor? I might have just pushed it through the floor. It might have not destroyed itself. Huh. Interesting. But yeah, that's the warp ability. I just kind of threw that on the ground because I didn't know where else to put it. Might be nice to put it in the place that I've just put that potion. That might be a logical place to put that. I don't know. We'll see. It's actually 2 potions, believe it or not. Oh yeah, and you can't see the item amounts because the background is also dark. So does it respawn always? Is that a bug? No, it does stop respawning after I've picked it up. Okay, no idea what's going on there. But let me write down the item number. Color is black. Should be lighter. Probably just white. But we'll see. Technically, that sword should be in the stone, but if I remember by the end of the fight, I will note it down. But otherwise, that might be really annoying to deal with. It shouldn't be that bad, actually. Should be moving like 2 bones in the cinematic. So, we'll see. Ooh, that should have hit me. Like that, exactly. Look, the thing is with these boss fights, like, I've done this fight, like, literally probably 100 times, so it's actually, like, I don't even really need to look at this. Like, I'm looking at chat right now, which isn't moving very fast, but I'm looking at the chat right now while I'm fighting this, because I can literally do this without thinking. But I haven't really changed the AI up too much. Aside from making it a little bit easier by giving him an actual like passive state. I really need to look into his teleport attack, because that does not seem to be working properly. So I don't know if the fight is just too easy, or if I have just absolutely like destroyed it as far as this as far as like getting used to the fight goes. Right. Oh, that's some good cold water. Nice. Yeah, that hand pose is also kind of weird, but eh. Okay. Oh yeah, sword shouldn't be in the stone. Knight sword should be in stone. And then knight in central level hand pose weird. So at this point we can fix up all of these individual issues that we already have. It's kind of annoying that it only started marking them with like these little icons starting here, but who cares? Or we can keep going and play through the rest of the dungeon and have a bigger list to all go through at once. I kind of feel like going through the rest of the dungeon as well. Then again, we probably should fix at least a couple of those issues, because they do impact some like game balancing things. Because I did just like spend 300 experience on getting stats to the point where they should start, which means that I could have spent that experience on increasing my stats in other ways, which would butterfly effect through the rest of the experience, maybe. It's actually a pretty good point. I've got a lot of... I need to just clear all of these save files at some point. Let's just keep going for now, because I'm sure that we will do more than one playthrough start to finish of this entire thing. We definitely need to do more than one playthrough of this entire thing, because I need to test both the runes don't seem to be damaging me. That is interesting. Oh yeah, and everything else suddenly does deal a fuck ton more damage. What the hell was that? Anyway. Everything does suddenly deal a fuck ton more damage, because after the first boss fight, like, enemy damage increases by 50%, and their resistance to damage also increases by 50%. So I suddenly only deal half damage, and they, well, not half damage, like 2/3 damage. And they deal 150% damage now compared to what they were doing before. Because this is where the actual game starts, and things are allowed to, like, be difficult and kill you. The tutorial probably shouldn't, by and large, kill you too much, but this part of the game definitely should. So I'm thinking that these areas over here... Oh, that's also an issue. I can lock onto invisible enemies. Yeah, let me actually write that down, because that is an easily fixable issue, probably. Lock on takes invisible enemies. 2... should ignore them. Because I can literally check if an actor is hidden or not, or if their mesh is visible. I also don't know from like a level design perspective if there's anything like actually interesting going on here, because I honestly think that there's kind of not, to be like very honest with you. But and I think that the general like AI of base enemies also do with a little bit more improvement. There's a couple of things that I do want to implement for their AI. I want to make them more aggressive, but I also want to give them like a kind of like hive mind situation. I think I just killed one while it was invisible. I also kind of want to give them a semi-hive mind where they like report to the game mode. And the game mode has and the game mode has like an array of like active enemies, and then it has an array of enemies that are allowed to attack me. So anytime they try to do an attack, they first check within the game mode, hey, am I in the list of enemies that is currently allowed to do an attack? That way I can program things to be a little bit more aggressive without like 15 enemies. Well, 15 might be a little bit much. But without like 10 enemies or 5 enemies even swarming you and just absolutely annihilating you all at the same time. But that's probably going to be like a future type of deal. That's a dead end. I made this maze, by the way. Okay, that does still damage me. Good. Well, that's probably not going to be in this version of the playtest. This version is probably just going to have these slightly stupider enemies still. Well, the game of music, yeah, it's just a little low in volume right now. And it's a temporary track. It's not like the finalized music for the game right now. But I do fully expect to, if I can manage it, maybe even have like custom music composed for this. That would be ideal. If I can manage it, I don't know that I will be able to. But I do think that music is like a very important part of the game. because that's really like what sets up the your emotion while playing, right? There's a general like thing about art and lighting that creates a general vibe. You don't really feel that emotionally, like yourself, until you also have the proper music to go with that. So definitely should have like properly composed music to go with the game. But for the amount of music that the game would need to have, that's going to get fairly expensive fairly quickly, I imagine. So I'm lost in my own maze. I thought this was the exit. It is not. But I get a free Reaper Soul, which doesn't have a value yet, so I need to set up some item values in a moment as well. I think it might be here, maybe. Okay, I guess the maze does its thing. Playtest information, I will... In my next devlog, I will talk about it definitely, so that's going to be in like a couple of weeks. And also, the moment it's available, which is going to be hopefully later this week, if not early next week, I will post about it in the Discord. And you can apply for the Steam playtest already on the Steam page, which is I think linked down below in the description. If not on here, then on any other video on the channel. I think it's also in the live stream defaults. I don't know for sure. I should check that. But there I can't really like give specific people access. It just tells you, hey, 100 people have applied for access. How many people do you want to give access? So it's just like a waiting queue. And there's already like 75 people in there or something like that. So if you apply now, it might be a little while longer before you get access, because I'm probably going to give like a batch of 50 people access at first and see how much feedback it actually gives me, so that I don't get like too much at once. And then maybe like a couple of weeks down the line, after doing some initial changes, then I'll give like 50 more people access or whatever. If you want to be like super involved, being in the Discord is probably the way to go. Because in the Discord I have a specific role set up for beta testers, with a specific channel for beta testers to like talk in, and there I will also just post like an HIO link to a build of the game that people can. That way I can like invite specific people that I know are going to be like actively giving detailed feedback, because on Steam it's just kind of like, this many people now have access to your build, and if they feel like it, they can post something on like the community page for it, which is, I feel like, going to be less of a percentage of people than having like the direct Discord interaction. I'm also going to put in a button in this menu to a Google form in the playtest, because obviously I don't want to make it too difficult to give me feedback. Okay, definitely gonna increase strength, piercing damage, and health. And then I don't quite have enough souls to do one more level on something. That's really annoying. But that should be enough. Hopefully, maybe. We'll see. Actually, I can sell some stuff. I can sell some stuff. I forget that I have a shop system now. Yeah, okay. So the souls should be worth something. So give all items actual values. Selling value should be lower than buying price, because at the moment it's not. So that's also not ideal. I have 6 flame essence again. Did I really like pick up some more of that? Okay. That's the only thing worth anything that I have. So like, let's sell one of those, just so that I can increase my mana by a little bit as well. It'll be super interesting to hear about the experience of playtest. I hope that it's going to be like an interesting dialogue as well. I'm going to be talking about... I want to make a video about using assets. like marketplace asset in your game, but I feel like that might not be the best topic to lead into the playtest. So I might just literally make a video that centers around, like, I don't know what the story of the video is going to be, but I want something that is going to scream in people's subscriptions feeds that there is a playtest available, right? And then I also want to do a video about taking the feedback and doing something with it. So that's probably going to be like the next month or two of, oh, we've got items. I forgot that I placed those there. That's probably going to be like the next month or two of like devlog related videos, is me saying there's going to be a playtest and then me showing how the playtest went. Showing how the playtest went is going to be like fairly easy to construct a story for. I just don't know what kind of like story I'm going to tell for, hey, I've got a playtest ready for you guys. But yeah, back to the custom music real quick. I've got 6 dungeons in the game, and each dungeon, if I want to do it economically, I would have one track for each dungeon that I can like disable certain parts of for more call music, and then enable the more dynamic parts maybe for the combat music. So that way I only have 6 slightly more complex tracks. But ideally I think I want to have just entirely different music, because that also creates more creative possibilities, I'm sure, for the composer. So that would be 12 tracks in total, but then I also probably want certain like locations to have their own music track, because they are like locations of importance. Like every boss probably should then also have its own music track, right? So that's another 6, so that's 18. Throw in per dungeon one area that has like area of importance marked for it, right? And then suddenly that's another 6, which is suddenly 24. And then suddenly the final boss is going to have its own theme, so that's going to be 25. And I don't imagine like making a composer do 25 tracks for my game is going to be cheap. So I don't know when and if and how that is going to be a thing. I haven't looked into it yet, because that's definitely one of those things where I'm like, that's end of production, right? When everything else is ready, we'll look into that. For the time being, I don't think I want to think about that. I will make all the art, put all the levels in place, do all the lighting, all the gameplay, and then once all that is in place, I have something to show the composer and say, hey, this is the game, this needs music. At which point, like, make music for it, and then I can like tweak some things maybe to like work a little bit better with said music as like a final polishing step. But by and large, I feel like the music is going to be one of the last things to actually like be implemented, because it's such a like part of the emotion and emotional experience that it kind of needs the entire rest of the experience to be in place, I think. If not for the composer, at least for me as a means of communication to the composer, right? Because how do I communicate what I want? I am very much like a visual type of person and communicator. So if I just make things visually the way I want them to feel, hopefully that allows the composer to pick up on like the vibes. And then of course I can just explain a bunch of like lore implications and stuff, and I almost died there. And that might help. Why are you not getting hurt? Ooh, that could be an actual issue. Yeah, that is an issue. Seems like we almost have the same cell shader. I used... this shouldn't be possible, by the way. I'm just doing this to cheat. I used a tutorial... I mean, this is not great. Because this thing does need to die in order for me to progress. So luckily I have one ability that just applies direct damage. And that's kind of doing it so far. Just kind of need to cheat it a little bit. Oh, hold on. Are you... No, it's nothing to do with that. So I don't know what is causing this, which is scary. But yeah, a while ago I saw a tutorial about physically based cell shading. By, I don't remember, I feel bad. And I was like, oh, that's really interesting, but that seems kind of complex. And then a month or two ago, I think at this point, I went back and followed along and like did some tweaks to make it look the way I wanted to look. But the nice thing about this is that this keeps colored light and metallicness in place because it isn't just a base color mask. Which a lot of cell shaders will just use the base color and then just put a bunch of if nodes in place to say if like lighting value is under this, do base color divided by 3. If lighting value is between these two values, divided by 2, and if it is higher than that, divided by, well, don't divide it. But that limits you in things like this, right? This is a color that's added through lighting. This purple. Well, it's kind of difficult to see here, actually. But there's like quite a bit of like colored lights in this. That's the wrong door. There's quite a few colored lights that I'm using because the entire thing I have with my game, I think this is the door to go through, is that every dungeon is color coded, and with that also comes a like color in lighting, not just in like art assets. As you can see again, the doors here, this one is purple. If we go up here, I'm going to skip over some enemies to just show you. We'll go back and actually properly do this room in a moment. But if I go through here, there's also actually a good excuse to go pick up that item over there. Don't fall down. That would be scary. You will be able to see that there's a door on the other side of the room that is red. And you can see that it's actually emitting red light. And a lot of cell shaders don't deal very well with that. Because they... What? Okay, hold on. So, Reaper stopped taking damage. Maze door... upper level not working. And specifically, the fact that colored light needs to work for me was quite important. So I was like, I'm gonna need to do that. No like tricky, just bunch of if statements for me. Which actually is kind of fun, because I also have like that knight, which has a metallic material, and metallic materials also don't generally... Oh, it doesn't unload the previous level. What the fuck? Because that thing was still low. What? Okay, no idea how that happened. We'll investigate at some point. And the wonderful thing about this cell shader is that you, what you do with the cell shader is you just limit the amount of luminance values that you have, right? This one has a little bit of fading, like subtle fading between luminance values to cut down a little bit on the noisiness of those transitions, and that is a potion. Which is nice, but it also has a similar thing for different hues. So I only have effectively like, I think 24 colors that can be displayed, like 24 different hues that can be displayed, but they have some blurriness between them to like have a higher actual amount. But it's not just a very like full and detailed color wheel. You can see that on some assets that have like some like little artifacting on them because of that. But like in a good way, because they look a little bit more like drawn instead. I mean, everything looks nice. Thanks. I am... Are we back? Are we stable? I did just realize another issue that I have to note down, but I am more worried about the stream health. Because once again, the moment other people come home, why do I have half a soul? Because it's adding it at 50. Okay, so there's two things there. We first and foremost should revenge attack should override knockback animation. And then also souls should be rounded up to nearest integer. What the fuck even is happening here? Are we back? I think we're back. Okay, I'm sorry, my internet sometimes just kind of decides to die, which is fun. Is this your final UI or just placeholders? This is very much just placeholders. Like the... as far as like the visuals go, a lot of the... like functionality is pretty much where I want it to be. But the visuals very much are placeholders. Like, all those grey buttons are just, like, default Unreal buttons. And we're gonna need to have, like, actual, like, graphics for those at some point. But that's future me. So we'll worry about that when we get to that. Yeah, so that's kind of the issue with sharing a Wi-Fi network with other people and being a streamer. When other people fuck me over, people just dip. Anyway, I hope that there's some people still left over here, and if not, that's fine too. It's ticking back up. Hello. Welcome, everybody. Or welcome back, everybody. I don't know. Oh, that's also definitely a thing that I need to fix, because I remember that from a previous playtest that I did in person that I haven't fixed yet. Is... let me get to it. Too late. These elevators, you need to take the one down to get the key. Which is kind of fucked if you take the one that goes up first, because you missed the key altogether. And the key is kind of important, because without the key... God damn it, I was dropping frames again. No, we're not. Okay, that's good. Without that key, I can't enter the boss room. So that's a little annoying. So let me make a note of that in a moment as well here. Yeah, so let's note that down as well. Purple platforming, level, elevator, up and down at same place, bad ID. Make elevator down, then hallway, then elevator up. Because that way, hopefully people will do everything on the floor that they have just arrived at before taking the elevator back up. And if they don't, like, at some point, that's not my problem. Right? This is really satisfying, if it works. And this is a full-on spell. Found item for magnet. And then... you know what? We might as well go down here. just gotta not burn up in these burners. But we actually got on a pretty good cycle there. So nice. Can we make it? Can we make it? We can make it. Nice. Okay, we didn't make that one. That's slightly embarrassing. Fuck. But actually, up until this point in time... Oh, I didn't think about the fact that you can use those steps as well. So we've been going for about like 50 minutes at this point, and we're still not at the boss fight yet. We're getting close, admittedly, but we're not there yet. I keep tabbing out and stuff to write things down as well, but the playtime is getting up there to like explore the entire thing. There's also no... we're gonna just ignore that. I just wanted to get these items. The level streaming for all these things actually works fairly seamlessly, which is fantastic. Because that was a bit of a pain, I'm not gonna lie, to set up. I mean, that is... Ooh. Why can I not make that jump? Should be able to jump back out there. That is a major issue. Jumping back up the flaming things in platforming level, not possible. Look at how many things within an hour we are discovering that need to be fixed before handing this off to other people. And this is not the first time I'm going through and doing this exact thing. It's the first time I'm doing it on video, which slows it down a little bit, admittedly. But I've done this exact process like 4 times by now. And we still have like a big list every time I do this. If you need help with... Oh, fuck. UI design, let me know. This is probably going to be like fairly far away still before I care enough to do that. But again, I'm going to ignore that. There's also no level behind that door. So... Oh! You can't jump down though. So I thought we were just going to jump down to solve that issue. But that we might be like in actual trouble. Which is okay because we're playing in editor, so like worst case scenario. Do these things not allow me to ledge grab onto them anymore? Is that the issue? Oh, what the hell? Oh, that's... Can we not? Can we please not move down constantly? What's the collision stuff for this? I can't set any of that apparently. Okay. Let's set you up a little higher. Where are you now? That didn't help at all. What if we give you like 3,000 units? Okay. I think this is a good moment to start fixing some of the issues that we run into. Because that is... Disconnect the control, please. Hello? Why do you still keep going down? Thought that was just a controller issue. This is highly annoying. Yeah, that's not great. Anyway, we need to fix some stuff in C++ anyway, so let's do that first. Because what we need to do is we need to somewhere in the tick event, I think. Probably doesn't need to be in tick. Could probably do with doing that on a timer, just like 20 times a second instead. But we find closest enemy, for which we do stuff. Can you describe the game briefly? For me, it looks like a 3D hack and slash Souls-like platformer with inspirations from Hollow Knight. That is pretty much bang on, yeah. I wouldn't quite call it a 3D Hollow Knight because I stray quite like far from Hollow Knight at some points, but it was definitely like Hollow Knight is a big inspiration for the game, but it is it's got a bit more RPG elements than Hollow Knight. So it's somewhere between a hack and slash, a Souls-like. Well, you could call Hollow Knight a Souls-like if you wanted to, I guess. But there's also more. Hollow Knight has more Metroidvania than this game. This game doesn't really like tend to unlock things, like unlock new areas, based on like beating bosses and getting upgrades and stuff like that. It's in that regard more open world, but I don't like calling things open world specifically because there's like a bunch of loading screens because it only loads one room at a time. So it is, in a technical sense, far from open world. So it's a bit of a weird mishmash of different inspirations, but I think a 3D hack and slash Souls-like. I would prefer Souls-light, and that sounds really like pretentious, maybe, but I lean a lot more into the action RPG hack and slash gameplay than Souls-like. I would say, in like moment-to-moment gameplay, the way that the combat feels, it's like a lot faster, a lot looser. There's a lot less punishing. In a lot of ways, I think, than a lot of Souls-likes. A lot of Souls-like games tend to be a little bit slower and more methodical in their combat than what I'm making. So, in that regard, I classify myself more as a hack and slash action RPG. But there's definitely a lot of Souls-like mechanics, like those loose enemies, as long as they aren't tied to a spawner. Only respawn when you check in at a checkpoint. When you die, you drop your souls. Your experience, your whatever, in the place that you died. You need to make it back there, and if you die on the way back, you lose out on all that dropped experience, which is a very Souls-like mechanic. So I'm just kind of like taking the mechanics and the things that I like from a bunch of different things and putting them together into something that I just call Action RPG. The project is literally, like, the character is literally called Action RPG Project Character, and the project file is literally called Action RPG Project. Because I'm bad at naming things. By the way, don't do this, because this is really annoying to type out every time you need a reference to your character. From like just a coding perspective, like at least abbreviate it. Copilot does help with that a little bit. Anyway, we have a enemy actor, so we do stuff. Where do we do this stuff though? Update nearby enemies, float radius. Okay, so sphere trace enemies. Overlapping actors, okay, we do visible enemies. Oh, do I just pass through the wrong? No, that should already do that. Let's just read through. So we get our actor array for the overlapping actors, and we check for every one of those if it is an actor, if it is not, or if it is a enemy with a cast. If it is not an enemy, we continue, so we skip over the rest of the code. And then if the enemy mesh visible is false, we also should continue. But we don't, so... And this just returns B is visible. Or B visible. Oh, I might not make them invisible. that might be the case. Yeah, I think per attack. Oh my god, which one? I guess we can just get the basic Reaper behavior tree and get to the ability from there. That's the easiest like reference I have to that. What the fuck is this? Stop movement not found. Make sure it said, what the hell are you even on about? That's left attack or right attack. We also, somewhere in here, have the ability teleport attack. There we go. So, in this whole mess of a thing, we do set it to hidden in-game. Oh, but we set the actor to hidden in-game. So when you set the actor as a whole to hidden in-game, it doesn't actually flip the meshes bool for being visible. That makes sense. Oh, but that should be fine, because if it's hidden in-game, we just want to skip over it as well. So we just put in another if statement here, because that's just how I program. If not enemy... Well, actually, this is a if enemy is hidden, we continue. That should be the line to fix that, I think. Which... Let's recompile, because there was some other issues there as well. Currently developing a hack and slash action adventure, so fights, platforming puzzles, bosses, but no RPG elements, at least for now. That does sound pretty similar. I like having the RPG elements because I like RPGs, but there's definitely something to be said for like not doing RPG elements, so that it's just enjoyable and not that grindy. I'm not like masterful at level design, so forcing people to like engage in combat through just pure stats is an easy way for me to accomplish that from like a game design perspective. Because otherwise it's just a little too easy to ignore the combat. And honestly, like if you want to be able to ignore the combat, that's not a problem. But combat is kind of like the main thing going on in my game. So I kind of want to like push people into engaging with the combat, because that's the thing that I'm putting a lot of effort into. What elements are RPG specific? Mostly just like leveling mechanics, I would imagine. Like gathering experience and leveling up. Like if you add that, that is like technically an RPG. It's an RPG element. And you can extrapolate that to things like skill trees and like more specific complex stuff, but all that comes back to a level up system. Would be cool if you could look. I mean, of course, I would love to. I haven't done a playing your games video in a while because again I've been sick, so would be nice. Because our projects have common features, we are currently not aiming for English-speaking community, but planning to start making content soon. Language is a whole thing. I understand. Okay, so let's just see if I go into here. This is why it's nice to have all these different saves. I probably should just make a menu that allows me to go to any level in the game, to be honest. But I don't even know how I would do that, because like different level doors and stuff. Okay. Yeah, that works. So it doesn't focus on them anymore now that I added that one line of code. Can be as easy as that. Which fucking line was that again? Oh yeah, all stats should be initialized to 1 as well. Probably should do that as well. Let's see. Somewhere in here. Night sword. Yeah, lock on invisible enemy should be ignored. There we go. So yeah, we're just gonna kind of work through this list now. So jumping back on the flaming things should be possible. It's just a little too high. Which level is it? It's platforming 113. Where so yeah, this is just a little too high up. So I guess we just like add like 100 units to this. Well, then my question is, can I even make this jump, right? I'm sure that I can. I'm sure that I should be able to. At this point, I'm not really sure. I think I have a save file. This is close-ish. This is more closely related to the look that the dungeon itself is going to have, by the way, after it's not a block mesh anymore. It's really tempting to keep using the dash. I don't actually think the dash is faster than moving. And it does cost MP, so I probably shouldn't. Oh, these two should also not be offset. Final flamethrowers shouldn't be offset. Well, making the level initially, I offset them. Because I felt like that would be more challenging. But the thing is, if I don't offset them, and I just make like the window a little bit smaller, I think that I need to tweak that anyway. I don't know, maybe the offset is just not correct, but what I want is for you to walk through the first one and then have to wait for the second one. And right now what happens is you walk through the first one and that's just when the second one ends. Which obviously isn't exactly ideal. Oh yeah, mini boss also enables itself for no fucking reason. Need to look into that. Probably just is flagged as starting as active. I mean, I'm getting lucky. Fuck. I'm getting lucky on these cycles, so that's nice. Okay. Can I can jump back up, but now I do need to be careful about returning. But this should be... Oh, I can't make that jump either. Oh, that's fucked. Did I change my jump height? Because I could have sworn that I was able to do this before. I mean, there's one way that I can get up there, right? Well, actually, no. No, there is not. What the fuck? Hold the fuck on for a moment. Collision. It doesn't have the collision settings for this thing because it's dynamically adding it, I guess. I think. Yeah, it's getting added dynamically through C++. So that's a bit annoying. I could have sworn that I was able to jump back up there before. What is my max, like, jump height? Or Z jump velocity? That's the wrong third-person character. Movement components. Z... Oh, here, jumping. Jump velocity is 1250. This? Because I do like work with an instance here. Go to movements. Jump. It is 1250. But that makes these really tight, like on top of each other, which I also don't love. So maybe what we do is we do it like this. At least for block mesh purposes. Well, we actually would do it like this, right? I mean, to be 1000% honest with you, but it will solve the issue. Mostly, I think. Pull this back a little bit like this. It does make these areas a little tight to move through, but as a solution. Maybe there's a better solution. I don't fucking know. We'll get there. I should have metrics for level design. What kind of metrics? Metrics that have bad my levels suck, because I can tell you that much. Pretty bad. Some of them are halfway clever, a lot of them are this. Which hopefully will be helped. I feel like there's more reflection than there used to be. Why is that? A lot of this will hopefully be helped by just like adding in more art assets to fill out things. Like there's a whole bunch of like empty space here. The fuck is going on there? Gravestones. That's what's going on there. I'm not going to put that stuff in until I know that I'm not going to like majorly change it, which I'm not going to do, or which I'm not going to know rather, until I've had people play through it. There's a little bit of a circularity to that, because the experience is going to be different without art assets. Yeah, see, that is makeable now, and then we can jump down here. Nah. And we actually, this does communicate a, like, generally, fuck, no, like, safe area to stand for a bit as well. So it might actually be kind of nice to have. It is a little, still a little tight as far as camera goes. I don't love that. What if, this might be really stupid, hold on, this might be really stupid, but what if we have any data on like where along our camera boom the camera is? Because that might actually solve some issues that I have. Because sometimes in tight spaces I just don't have enough field of view, right? So I'm thinking if we have like get what camera should be. Rate how value big of probe size. How I don't know. Should be a way to read that, right? Just gonna ask ChatGPT because I think it might be probe size, but I haven't tried that before. 3 outdated drivers. Hey, AVG, go fuck yourself. In Unreal, I have a spring arm component with a camera on it. And now I would like to have a value on how far along the spring arm the camera is currently positioned. Natural length of the spring arm when no collision. Get target offsets. Can we just get arm length? It's a target arm length. I want to get the arm length that it currently is at. ChatGPT is telling me a lot of stuff. It feels like there should be a function that exists on a spring arm component. Unreal position along spring arm. Yeah, so these people are also making their own like little function for that. So apparently like that's the thing that we do need to do. Okay. Well, luckily it's not that bad. We can just like get world location for both. And then we get the distance between these two. And then this will require a little finagling. But we get the flow camera again, and then we set field of view or angle, view angle. What the fuck is it called? Field of view. Yeah, set field of view. There we go. With a lerp between, let's say, 50 and 90. And then the alpha for the lerp is also going to be a lerp. No, that needs to be an inverse lerp, right? Yeah, that would need to be an inverse lerp. So what we want is we want to get the camera boom. It currently has a length of 650. So let's say when it starts going beyond 500, when we want to start opening it up until a distance of like 200, at which point it should be at about 50 degrees. So we need an inverse loop for that, which doesn't exist in Blueprint, I don't think. Inverse loop. Nope. Always forget the math for this. Can you tell me how to set up a inverse loop? Just need the formula, thank you. Result is a value. So let's just, for now, make that a, well, it can be this, actually, because it's the distance, so that's value. Minus a, and then a would be the top value, so that's where we start. I guess that would be 200 divided by like 500 minus 200. I think that's it, right? Always throws me. But that, in theory, this is entirely unrelated to what we were doing. I am aware, by the way. But that might solve another issue that we'd have in the past, and that is, ooh, that is a bad way to test that. That's the opposite of what we want. Holy shit. So yeah, this zooms in instead. Okay, so this is the wrong way around, but that is... in theory, just because we have these the wrong way around, right? Is it? It might not be. Because it's also fucking with us when we like start moving. Ooh, yeah. Also, no, it's just a lerp. The lerp is wrong because it's doing weird stuff. I guess we need to clamp this between 0 and 1 as well. That would make more sense. Okay, but now it still does it the wrong way around. If you make this 90 and this 50. This is not the most important thing that we can be doing right now, but it's still the shorter it is, but that doesn't make any sense because it should be... Let's also add some print strings in here. Because I might just be confusing myself. Because I just fucking nailed. Okay, so it's at 50 when it's the furthest away. Oh. I was... No, that makes sense. You know what is happening with my brain? I was thinking in camera lens focal lengths. And there, when you have a lower number, it's a bigger field of view. But this is a literal field of view. So it should be going from 90 to like 140. But then the other way around, right? So it should be 140 going down to 90. So when we get closer, we get wider. And when we get further away, we're back to 90. 140 might be a bit much. Like if we just go up to 110, it'll give you a little bit of extra room to like look around. So I think that'll be nice. If we do this, you know. I feel like that just smooths things in a little bit in like these tight hallways. And the reason that I care about that is mostly because of the thing that we were just testing. Also gotta get rid of the print string in a moment. And I said maybe we don't need to do this in tick, but this definitely should be done in tick. Because we don't want this to be stuttery in any way. This needs to be updated every frame. I think a 20-degree difference is subtle enough. It's just at the start of every level, it's very in your face because the camera boom is like very close to you. And you still only see this, so you get this at the start of every room. Which I don't know that I'm definitely like in love with that. But it seems a reasonable enough trade-off to getting a little bit more of field of view in tight spaces. Right, because if I now go down here, at least I get a little bit more field of view, and I actually think that this does increase the maneuverability of these tighter spaces by quite a lot. I'm actually not unhappy with that at all. I actually quite like that. Okay, so we just solved an issue that we didn't even note down. Congratulations, me. Opening chests or examining things still has a print string as well. So let's take a look at that, because is it the chest or is it the examine option that does that? Interact, it's definitely just the chest, so let's, there we go. Sword doesn't vanish during the dash, so yeah, that is a little bothersome to deal with. Than you would might initially think, and that is because of something that I'll show you in a moment. So what ends up happening is me not organizing blueprints. Is we commit ability, we disable input, we toggle visibility, all that kind of bejans. So we enable input on and ability here, which I think we should not do. I think what we should do is we should enable input at here, so that we can prematurely potentially end this ability and still have the enable input being skipped. Joined the stream 5 minutes ago and already I'm here. Saw your brain lag, some neat solution to the problem, and failed to parkour. This is definitely your stream. You hunt replaced with aliens. Not yet. Not quite yet. So that way we solve part of the issue that we had, but the other issue that we were running into is the fact that we have this toggle visibility for the mesh, which should propagate to children, I think. So that way we also do it for the mask. And we can do it for the weapon as well. So we can just skip over a bunch of those other functions. But then the issue is we at andability, we toggle visibility again. And here we do need to be one by one, because we have the mesh, we have the, well, this actually doesn't need to be deactivated anymore, so go away. We have the mask, and then we have the weapon, which only needs to be re-enabled if we are actively like in combat, or we have our like weapon visible. I don't think we have a variable for that. But let's check it out, because maybe we do. I don't think we do. So we could make a bool for that, right? Fairly easily. What we could also do is not do that, and instead, bear with me, get the game mode, and cast that to our whatever BP action RPG game mode, because I think this one has a maybe it doesn't. Hold on. Surely it's somewhere in here. Game mode. Oh, it's called in battle, not in combat. That's why. Battle. So if we're in battle, we will re-enable the sword. And if we're not in battle, we will not re-enable the sword. Downside being is if you slash your sword, it appears, then you dash, it'll have disappeared, it won't reappear because you're not technically in battle. I think that is a worthwhile sacrifice to keep the code somewhat clean. So we will, if that's false, we will just move right the hell on. And if it is true, what we'll do is we'll also get the weapon. Why is that on the camera? There's a child actor component, so it should be right. And then toggle visibility should be... actually, do we want to toggle visibility? I think we just want to set visibility, to be honest with you. Maybe we want to do that for these two as well. Yeah, let's do that for those other two as well. What the hell? Why did it copy over that node? Just to be thorough, so that if it is already invisible for some reason, it doesn't do like weird toggling to visibility and the other way around. And I don't know why it would, but it fucking might. So we'll do the same thing here with new visibility just being false, and this will propagate to children for the mesh. And then the dashing thing should have been fixed. So let's check out if it actually is. So if I dash, I don't have a sword anymore. Fantastic. We still have that issue. I know. Ooh. Yeah, so that is an issue. Okay. We can do that. We can fix that. That's not that difficult to fix. It's just in the attack, if we... weapon... If weapon is not visible, Then we weapon. There's a cool hotkey to search files in Writer, Ctrl-Shift-N. I don't know if it's default or not though. We'll try now. Key map, go to file, just press it and... Oh, that's actually kind of nice. Ctrl-Shift-N. It's not the default key map. I'll have to look it up at some point. Is that a blueprint interface? That might be a blueprint interface. Well, then we do this in blueprint. That's fine. Because we already have a attack event implemented in blueprint as well, I think. Yeah, because we sent that just in case. So when we do that, we just get our weapon is visible. I'll do that after sending the event. If it is not visible, we appear effects. Yep, that doesn't work. Oh, yeah, no, that's... Because the actor is visible, just a mesh that isn't visible. Right, that's what's going on. I think that might be what's going on. Weapon static mesh. Let's see if that's blueprint readable or not. Nope. Okay. That's annoying. Because that's going to require me to rework some things, I think. And I don't know where that code lives. It might be on... It's just going to be on a weapon class itself, right? Surely. But these are blueprint implementable events. So I need to probably... do that. Instead do it for the entire actor, but no, we can't do that because it... Oh, that's annoying. Okay, oh, we have the hide FX pool as well, so what we can do instead as player dash is we can just... That's why we had that set up the way we had it set up. Okay, I get it. Get mask. Sometimes you just gotta not question your own past choices. Get a weapon. Hide. Vanish? I think it's called vanish. And now we hide the effects. That's the thing. We don't want the effects for vanishing in this case. And then what we do here is, instead of setting visibility on this fucker, is we appear effects without the effects. And then everything should just work. Unless it doesn't. The fuck is wrong with my blueprint? Oh, that makes sense. If it doesn't work, I don't know. We'll see. Rider side told me it's Ctrl-Shift-T, but no, rider could be anything. Yeah. So that works. That does not make it vanish. That didn't make it vanish at all. So if we hide effects on vanish, it does set, it should set visibility to... Why does it not set visibility for the static mesh to not visible then? Because it should. Right? No, it doesn't run that function. Or at least not that path. Appear effects. Vanish effects. What the fuck? This is the blueprint for sword, right? Yeah. What the hell? Event vanish effects. Hide effects. When true, does that. When false, does that. Why does it not do anything? Doesn't even print false. So what the hell? Oh! This is why child actor components are the actual worst. I'm trying to run this on the component. What I should be doing is getting the child actor and running it on that. Which actually, now I think about it, means that we're going to need to do that for this one as well. It's these little annoying things that take the longest to... Okay, there we go. And then we... Perfect. And then we do this. And then we hop. And then we do that. Perfect. Okay, so that works now. That wasn't even in my list. Well, actually, it kind of was. So, yeah. Healing spell needs inventory print strings. Those are easy to fix. Because that's just a matter of finding my inventory. Well, not even inventory, it's the shop, I believe. Because in the shop, I think I set up a for loop somewhere. There we are. On create shop list. So that's fixed. 02 last pillar is doing some Z fighting. So let's look into that. That was this one, right? Yeah. Maybe not by 100 units. Maybe that's a bit too much. But like 20? That seems to fix it. We also had some Z fighting in the... Kind of gross. We also had some Z fighting somewhere in here, so let's still have a little bit going. It's fixed. See, some of these things are very easy and quick to fix up. The healing spell needs particles. I'm just going to use the potion particles for the time being. So let's just go into healing spell. Gameplay ability heal. I guess it's this one, right? Nope. I guess we just open up the asset. Oh, we also need to go through a bunch of assets to give them values in a moment, so might as well do that. It is gameplay ability heal. Huh? But the heal gameplay ability should... Oh, it's sponsored attached. So that's why. Well, then I guess we just get actor, avatar, whatever. Is that just a normal object? Just attached to those root components. That's... Z fighting is the actual worst thing for like 3D art ever. And I kind of wish that there was a built-in solution for it. Just when there's Z fighting, it just randomly picks one of the two assets to display in that place on spawn. And it just... I know it's not as easy as that, okay? But it's just really annoying that it's a thing we have to deal with. Especially when using like these... and that kind of stuff. It's... hate it. And with the like line outline, things aren't exactly aligned to the same like depth. It's also super obvious because they need to be exactly aligned, so I can't even push one of them back like 1 unit because it's gonna create extra harsh lines, so which makes so much worse. So yeah, let's test this because I think like surely one of these has, maybe not. Surely one of these has the, nope. Surely one of these has a healing ability somewhere, right? Surely this one does. The fuck? It doesn't have anything. Oh, that's because these are all still using names and I change over to GUI IDs or GUID. Whatever. In that case, what we'll do is we'll just go into the test level. Because here we have every item in the game and I can just put them in. Okay, that also is kind of not great. Don't know what else is going on here. That does what it needs to do. It still doesn't do, though. Did you guys hear anything? I might have just been really quiet. Hold on one moment. Just gonna try again real quick. I can't hear myself now, which is really weird and annoying. just like fucking damage me with something. Okay, now it does actually play the sound. That's good. Just couldn't hear it over the sound of my own voice. So healing spell particles, which brings me right into the fact that, and let's see, probably in plugins, inventory contents, item, that's item icon, that's not what I wanted, item display. Text number is in black. Let's change that to white. Yeah, that's better. Now you can at least see it. Question. If I open up this, we have, well, you can't see it in these, but we'll fix that in a moment. What I want to know is, can I see it? Oh, that makes sense. I want to also be able to see it in like actual gameplay. So it's nice that I can see them in here now, but I can't see them in there because those aren't actual item slots, I don't think. And they're also round, right? So it's actually kind of difficult to put them anywhere at all. Unless I want to put them outside of the circles. Well, actually, I can just put them in the name, can't I? At least for the time being. It'll also, like, but that'll fuck with the spells a little bit. But that might be the best way to do it for now. Where is my HUD? I can hard code that stuff to work, I guess. Seriously, where is my HUD? Oh, there we are. So for the set, special previews, no set, default previews. Set magic previews. I am losing my mind. UI is the worst part of game development. You tell me, man. Yeah, I think on the name makes the most sense, but I also need to distinguish between, I only should do that if they're items and not when they're spells, because those slots can either have items or spells in them. So I guess for now it's just, I add in a cost to the item class, the like consumable item class. And if, yeah, I think that's the best way to do this. Okay, hold on. We're going to get there. We're going to get there. But this is a macro, so it doesn't have... it doesn't have local variables. Okay. So this is the eventual... Okay, we select a string between this and that, but this we make an append. And then I guess what we do is we cast to consumable item. If I make this a pure cast, no, it still doesn't work because that's still gonna error things out. So yeah, there just needs to be a function. Because if it's a function, I can make a local variable. But this doesn't really need to be a macro for any other reason. So let's just collapse this to a function. It's a very bad collapse to function, but set magic preview info. And now now this doesn't need to be a macro anymore, but I'm not gonna like redo this stuff, so fuck that. Yeah, so now the idea would be I can finally make myself a local variable. Please tell me that you can't do that. Yeah, you can't do that in a macro. Item amount, which is going to be string. Default value is going to be empty. And we're just going to append that. So we do an append x item amount. And then we set the item amount, if this cast is successful, to... Oh, but we don't have the slot info. I don't think. Do we have that anywhere available? I guess we do have a count available as well, so we can just send that the fuck through. Some people like weird things. I don't hate UI. I struggle mostly with level design in a lot of ways, I would say, and like animation. But yeah, so now we go back into this, which creates a new input thing there, and that then takes in the counts for these. So that should now only with consumable items and not with spells tell you how much, and it should update every frame, because why program anything in a way that makes like any sense? So crafting. Let's actually do this differently. Let's do this in the test level. Well, no, because test level is kind of broken. We have a chest here with items in it. And this chest should also use the different icons, but we'll do that in a moment. So yeah, we can do this and this. And that, which is actually perfect. This should also take magic essence, realistically, but we'll ignore that for now. So this should say X1, this should say X1, and this should say not X1 when I press this button. And I mean, almost. But that makes sense because that is literally what I did tell it to do, so I can't get mad. What we need to do is we need to just append item amount. And then we can just remove this bin. And what this needs to be is this needs to be an append with space X number. And I should go pick up that other potion just to see if they stack properly in there as well. But like now it should be a potion, ether, and then fireball. And we'll worry about that whole other issue with the input disabling in a moment as well. There's just too much to do, man. We're not going to get all of that done today. We played for like an hour and then you have 3 hours of work fixing that stuff up. That's just kind of how this works. But I'm kind of happy with the increasing field of view when we get closer to the character physically. I do think that it is a little unsettling to look at, but I do think that it is probably the best choice to do. UI coding is easy. I mean, it is until it isn't. Just don't use many binds. I mean, like that's a base thing. That's just like the same as don't use tick, right? Sometimes you do need to use tick, and sometimes you do need to use a bind. But like the idea behind the bind is that it runs every frame, so it's expensive. Okay, that's not the button that I want to press. Okay, so this is now potion X3. The thing that I want to figure out is like if I use this, just disappears from there, right? But can you please hit me? Can you please hit me? There we go. Okay, that works perfectly fine. Okay, World item actors fall through the ground. Yeah, so that's a bit annoying. Let's initialize all stats to level 1, because I think that we should do that as well. When to use a macro as opposed to an event or a function, it doesn't really matter. The nice thing about a macro is that it can have multiple different execution inputs and outputs. I don't know why I made that one a macro, because it didn't really have any reason to be honest with you. So right now I have a macro that just calls a function, which is kind of dumb. But yeah, with a macro it's kind of nice that you can go in and say, hey, I actually want to have like multiple executive execution. I always call them executive pins. Execution pins outputs. So that when you actually use them, you can have like different logic flow and stuff like that, which is kind of nice. And you also have different potential like execution inputs. So you can have different logic flow based on which input you go into. Which allows for like a bunch of fun stuff. Like the for loop and the for each loop are all macros that take advantage of that. And this is valid node, for instance, is a macro, very easy macro. It's just the is valid pure function that returns true or false, but with like 2 different output pins. So that's kind of fun. So that's when you use a macro. I don't know why I made that thing a macro. I had no reason to be honest with you. Okay, initialize level stats. I think that is do we have like an inventory level? Yes, we do. And then we also have a piercing level and a magic strength level. What else didn't initialize to level 1? Everything that initializes to level 0. That's the only 3. Okay. So these 3 should initialize to the proper levels. With the proper gameplay effects. Now their default values also should be set, which I think I do in C++. In the header file, of course. Do I set them in the constructor? Apparently I do. Sure. Not attack counter equals 0. What the fuck is wrong with you? Magic strength level. And then what was the last one? I think it's piercing damage level. We can do that. So this is invent. Yeah, I guess we don't actually need to init that with a gameplay effect, do we? But this one, I think we do, right? Yes. And then this one also has magic damage. Okay, so that should now, after I recompile, initialize all those to 1 with a proper value. So that's also fixed. Item should be lighter color, but that also reminds me that the chests it's because I have this chest as part of the plugin. I can just make a copy of it and copy it out of the plugin. Right, because we have the item slots, and we should make that the... Wait, what? We'll get my answers at some point. The shop has the proper ones, right? For display. No, the shop has just buttons with the info on it, so that's not what I want to look at. What I want to look at is the pause inventory. Yeah, so this uses the interactable inventory slot. Not entirely sure what the difference is, I'm gonna be honest with you. Might have forgotten about the difference between those beyond just the different sprites or images. That might be the only difference. Gonna be real with you. That might be the only difference. So let's set those up, and then I guess in the BP chest what we do is on interact let's name this one BP chest ARPG, just so that we can differentiate it a little bit better, because otherwise it's going to be a nightmare. Connecting to a revision control takes a fucking mortal age. So, how's you guys' week? There we go. Let's see if the chest now spawns in the proper one. That's a bit better, isn't it? Not as ugly. Yeah, so this still... Well, no, that makes sense, actually. That does make sense. I was going to say, this still doesn't init to the proper values, but I haven't recompiled yet. Maze door, upper level door not working. I'm just picking them at random at this point. The first one that my eyes focus on is just the one that I mean, they need to be fixed at some point anyway, right? All of them. So it doesn't matter that much. Is what I tell myself. And it does 1-9 step up, and this one is 1-5 balcony. This is in 1-9 step up. That is correct. This one is in the persistent world. Yeah, that's not gonna work. Apparently. I don't know why that doesn't work. If I'm being 100% honest with you. Because I think that should work, but it doesn't. But I'm fairly certain that that is the issue. I'm going to test it now. But I've already removed it from the list because I'm like 95% sure that that was the problem. My week was nice. I didn't do a thing till today. Ain't that just the life? But the next couple of weeks, I'm gonna do 10 to 12 hours of work a day. I mean, don't fucking kill yourself. But yeah, making progress is nice. For everyone had a problem installing a package to the game, saying SDK was not installed. That's weird. Also got a security warning in Rider about the SDK. Well, at least there actually is something wrong with the SDK install you have done. Probably. Yeah, verifying your Unreal Engine install, if there is anything that seems weird, is usually a pretty good first step, because it does actually solve like 80% of all problems. Especially if you've been like, and probably not the issue in this case, but especially if you've been fucking around in like engine files accidentally, like I was a couple of weeks ago. Just verifying your install. Okay, that works now. Just verifying your install can do a lot to fix anything that you might have broken. But sometimes things just break themselves, and you still need to verify your install because. Okay, in the pressure plate, instead of just relying on the light from, but not exactly great for lower scalability, what I want to do is I want to have a rectangle light. Downside to a rectangle light is that it does have like an attenuation radius, which is going to fail at some point. But that'll be fine. We can just increase that to like 1500, and that's probably good enough. And then in the event graph, we have our flip neighbor, and we just set the light colors to matching colors. And that should be everything we need to do, I believe. Might not init with the proper colors now, though. We'll need to go back to medium scaling to actually test this as well. On begin player on construct, what we do is, so we don't, we need to set these up on construct as well, but that's not a big deal. And now we can do the emission power a little bit lower for this, right? So we can do the emission power down to like 3 for the actual emission. So they still do give a little bit of light, but the majority of the light will come from these things now. Nope. Not even maybe. Yeah. Unreasonably high, even. Let's just play around with the value on here. Every time you find yourself in an engine fire, you can't help but notice all your thoughts is, why am I even here? I mean, sometimes it's nice to... Oh, that's not the thing that I wanted to do things with. I feel like is that my rectangle light is the wrong way around. Maybe it should be... Oh, it wasn't. It was just inside. And it should definitely also be bigger, by the way. It should just be the size of this. So that's like 360 by 360, presumably. So yeah, I don't know why that is now red. Does look kind of nice in the viewport though. Kind of stupid to be happy about, but it's the little things in life that make me happy. So yeah, let's... For some reason this one is red, but sure. Did I hook them up the wrong way? Maybe. I think I hooked them up the wrong way. Hold on. In the construction scripts. Yeah, I did. That's my bad. There we go. That's better. So the intensity definitely does not need to be 10,000 or 100,000 or whatever the fuck that was. So we can set that back to like 3,500. And then the attenuation radius, if we set that to like 4,000, that's probably all we need. So we can go in here. Still not really seeing much in the way of like red color. The green color is just pure green, right? It doesn't have other colors mixed in. A little bit of red, but... yeah, look more like that. Yeah, so I think the red might just need a higher intensity. It's kind of weird, but sure. Oh, that's annoying. Intensity. Because we need to do this in 2 places as well, right? Which is like the painful part. Let's turn these around so that they are actually like lined up properly as well. So the green is pretty good at 3,500, and then maybe the red should be at about 5,500. Does that make it look any smoother? I mean, it's slightly subtle, but I think that is better. So I don't know why it isn't giving any, like, let's do them with the proper values. I don't know why it isn't giving any, like, better lighting still. Maybe it'll look different when we are standing on top of it. I can't see my scalability setting, so it's probably actually on pretty high. Nope. Well, it's entirely green, so... The reason, by the way, that I like that idea is that I accidentally found out that as you get closer to completing the puzzle, the room gets more green. And I kind of like that as an idea. And as you fuck up the puzzle more and more, the room gets more and more red. And that was entirely by accident because, like, lumen ray tracing. But, like, if I, on purpose, fuck up this puzzle quite a lot, you can see that it gets, like, more and more red around here. The red light isn't really, like, doing it very well, though, which is kind of annoying. And now I've kind of fucked myself out of the solution of this puzzle. Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with the red lights. I use fork for my revision control, just like, or version control, just like fairly simple and straightforward. What if I set this to like 10K instead? I feel like this is not the solution, but it might be a solution. Yeah, it needs to be like almost 3 times begin to register against the green. That's kind of weird. I don't think we need this to cast shadows down. That might also be impacting. No, that wouldn't impact like that. You know, the effect will be just stronger with like ray trace lighting with global illumination set to high. Don't hit me. I think the rune attack also didn't damage me, did it? Anyway, so now we get a little bit more of the effect that if we start like fucking things up a little, that we get like a pretty red color. But the more we like repair things, the walls around here become more green with the color of light. And that's, again, with the post-processing effect that I'm using for the cell shader, it actually does use all this colored light information, which is fucking fantastic, because it does like neat stuff like this, right? I'm just gonna pretend like I solved the puzzle, and like, it's very green now. It's only a little bit red. So yeah, this is one of those situations where there's like one little bit of distance between these two assets, which creates an extra line, which is annoying. It's really... I think these are also just on. So we're just gonna have to deal with that. That's fine. So yeah, that's fixed now. Give all items actual value. I think we can do that. And world items shouldn't destroy when they're picked up and the inventory is full. But I think they're not. I think I was just pushing it through the floor, to be honest. Yeah, I can't fit in inventory, so I just pushed it through the floor. But I'm going to probably disable physics on them anyway and just make them spawn on the floor to begin with. I probably should make something where spawned in items don't add themselves to the IDs as well. Well, actually, no, that's fine, because when they get spawned in, they don't actually get set, do they? No, they will, because they run the construction scripts. Not really important for right now, but probably something to look into. I guess what we can just do is... it's actually fairly easy to fix. Is placed. And if it's placed, we do this. And if it's not placed, we don't do this. Because I don't want it to bog me down with a bunch of IDs of one-off things. That I don't care about. Because I don't need to say whether or not I picked up an item drop. I only need to say whether or not I picked up an item like pickup. Yeah, none of these... well, when we get... when we get souls, we can do the rounding up to the nearest integer of the enemy thing. So that is in my interfaces, I think. Apply damage. Might be in here. Yeah, so... int XP to... oh. And then, is it F math? Probably seal to int. This should be a float. And this returns an integer? Yeah, so this will be an int rounded XP And then we'll plus equals the round XP. There we go. So that's also done. Yeah, all this other stuff is actually pretty intensive to do. This though, and go through real quick and make sure that everything has a value. So Sentry Soul, I'm just going to set souls to all have 50 value for the time being. This will it does apply that, right? Yeah. It will be made different between different enemies. Like more rare enemies will have this is an essence, so let's call that 20. More rare enemies will have a higher value soul drop, of course, because they are more difficult to get. But for now, I think that this is pretty good. And then I think the spells, I'm just gonna all value them at 100. And I think that always means that they're going to be less than their individual parts. I think, maybe. I don't know. Especially if they are going to sell for like 70% of the value compared to like what they actually are worth. And at least they all have a value, so they actually can be sold for like gameplay purposes. Even if they aren't balanced yet. Because there's a lot of the items already, as you can see, and there's going to be a fuck ton more as we progress with the game. So that's going to be like quite a thing to do, is balancing all the values for these. That's going to be a nightmare. But for now, this will do. So, it's been a good first stream back for 2025. I'm not sick anymore, and we made a good bit of progress testing some stuff out. So over the next couple of days, I'm going to work on the rest of this list, and maybe on Thursday we'll do another round of this, and then on Friday or over the weekend, I will finally start sending out playtests. Links. Again, you can apply on the Steam page. Also, while you're there, do wishlist the game because it does help out a lot. That is just a queue, though. So that means that if you apply there, it might be the next round of playtesting where you get access instead of this one. Or it might take like another week if I can tell that the people that have gotten access don't actually like do that much with it. If you do plan on being like super actively involved in the playtesting, it might be worth it to join the Discord and let me know that you specifically want to help with playtesting. I'll give you the beta tester role, and that'll give you access to the beta testing channel on the Discord, where I'll also specifically upload an itch.io link. For those people, I do expect them to be actively involved, though, with the feedback. So it's not just like playing and posting like one screenshot to like the community page or whatever. I fully do expect you to fill out the Google form after playing it, and ideally also have a screen recording of your entire playthrough for those, because in the end, I highly do believe that as much as people can give their opinions and their written feedback or spoken feedback or whatever, like in words, the way people actually like physically actively play through the game, being able to see that and pick up on things that the players themselves might not notice are going wrong is infinitely more valuable than having textual feedback alone. So if you want to go the extra mile to help me out, you can join through the Discord, but I do expect you to like at least do the Google form and ideally also do a screen recording. while playing through. So that's it for now, though. On Thursday, I will be back with maybe more playtesting, depending on how things go for me, like tomorrow and on Thursday before the stream. So we'll see what we do on Thursday, but most likely a little bit more playtesting. Till then,